Good afternoon. I'm your host, Justine Reichman, and welcome to Essential Ingredients. Today, I'm so excited to bring to you the chocolate siblings, Sara and Max. I'm not even begin to try to pronounce the last name because Max will correct me, and I will try, and we'll go on for 20 minutes. But you know what? I'm gonna try anyway because that's the kind of person I am. Marquart.
Yes,
No.
that was correct.
Yes?
No, that was good. Yeah, that was
No,
good.
it was good. Okay,
So
let me hear you say
it was
now.
worth spending 20 minutes on it. You did it very well.
Really? Okay. Woohoo. Should I do a little jig? Okay. Alrighty. So, co-founders of QOA.
Perfect. Yeah, cool.
I like her. She said perfect, and that was the first one out the door, but probably because I spent 10 minutes before this practicing, right?
Is it that hard?
It was good.
Alrighty. So, guys, talk to me. Tell me about QOA. Tell me about this chocolate or non-chocolate.
What should we say? I mean, we're making cocoa-free chocolate.
Okay, yeah. So I want to hear all about the cocoa. I want to hear about the cacao.
Yeah, so I think you already point out something quite important. There's a difference between cocoa and cacao. Cacao refers to the raw plant.
Yeah.
So not processed. Thing that you would, I don't know, encounter in Ivory Coast or Ghana. And then cocoa is the processed form. So the fermented and roasted one that you can then, I don't know, make chocolate out of, but not out of raw cacao. So people always get confused about it, and I think cool to point it out.
I appreciate that. So let's start at the beginning. So tell us a little bit about, first, what are we talking about? What is, I'm a little bit nervous to say the name of the company because I don't want to get it wrong. But we want our listeners to know what it is we're talking about. What is QOA?
Yeah, so we are basically making cocoa-free chocolate by fermenting byproducts of the food industry to turn them into our QOA powder and QOA butter. So basically, you could call them like a kind of like alternative to conventional cocoa, conventional chocolate if you want. And our QOA is 10 times more sustainable than conventional chocolate.
Okay, that's super interesting. I have so many questions already. How did you get started? How did you guys come together to come up with this and more? But Max, tell us, so you've been working with your sisters now. Is this the first project you guys started together, or have you guys always worked together?
I mean, we know each other since 32 years, right? I think that's on the pro side. I don't think there are too many founders that know each other since over 30 years. And we had several decent fights, I would say, that gives us a certain like fundamentals in a way to start a company, because for sure we won't experience a founders conflict. And it's not the first project, actually. When we were, I think the first project, like business project, how we call it, was when we were 18 to 20. We had we searched for a place where we could drink beers. In Germany, you can drink beers when you're 16 in a way, right? And we were looking for places where we can drink our like Friday and Saturday beers. And like in the bars, it was too expensive, so we had an old place that we renovated, and we started like drinking with our friends there. And then suddenly more and more friends came, and friends of those friends. And then we said like, okay, but maybe we should charge money for this, because why do we kind of make it for free and buy the beer for the others? And we started charging money. Then we invited bands in a way to that place, and suddenly kind of we had a bar running together in a way. So I always tend to say we accidentally kind of found product market fit in a way. And that was our first project. Unfortunately, we realized that regulatory is quite strict with bars, and that it's not allowed to just open a bar without any kind of like obeying regulations. Police closed it down, and our first business was already done. I think that was our first project together. And the second one was like rather in the protein, like in the plant-based meat space, but it's just a little bit of experimenting around. And now this is our third venture, and by far the most successful one, I would say.
Wow. So you guys are the Sibling Entrepreneurs.
That's cool. Sounds cool.
You like
That
that?
sounds
You like
fancy.
that?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
you
yes.
guys can use that.
Yeah, we will.
You guys can use
Thanks.
that. So you guys have sort of grown up together, not just as family, but in the workplace, building business, right?
In a
Kind
way,
of,
yes.
that
So how
fits,
is it
yeah.
working with your sister? I mean, it's hard starting a business. And how is it working with your brother?
I think it works exceptionally well because Max has this unique skill set that I would say that he's structuring my mind. I like to be creative. I like to spend my time in the lab, to be honest, but he's the kind of person that is taking care that my mind is aligned with the company, and also his experience in building companies is quite helpful for me because I lack that skill set. I have 10 years of background in flavor science and food chemistry, like all this kind of like academic disciplines, you might say. And yeah, so I think we're quite complementary with that. And as he's the older brother, I think it's also for me kind of like easy to rely on his like larger extent of experience because he's the older one, right?
How much older are you, Max?
2 years, 2.5.
Oh, 2 years. Wow. Okay.
Wow, it's amazing, right?
I mean, that's quite a burden to bear, right? All those years of experience and wisdom. It's quite a responsibility.
I think the only thing that is, I mean, what Sarah pointed out is true in a way, you know. I think like from our core, like education, we are both scientists in a way, but somehow in my previous like occupations, I somehow got moved away. I mean, that's how life plays. Sometimes I got moved away from science. I had my own company already in the past. Like for the last 7 years, I worked on my own company, worked building enterprises in a way. And let's say I did some mistakes in those previous companies that will help us to kind of, yeah, that we can leverage now in a way. And I think that's what I'm bringing in, and I'm quite happy that Sarah is doing the lab work and really like going in deep into the science, because that's something that I'd say I lost it away the last years. You just keep, and that's cool, and that's like we can. I think we play well together in a way because we are that complementary in our roles, and that's I think crucial also. That's how it works.
So how'd you guys land on cocoa?
Phew. How should we start that question, Max? I think we can tackle it from two sides, right?
Yeah, exactly. I would say like there's one side, we have both our motivations and ended up doing cocoa. I think for me, it was like I was working, like I said, I was working 7 years in the corporate space. I'm originally coming from the automotive space. Then in 2017, I built my own, I founded my own company, and we helped big corporations to work together with startups. What does it mean? The corporations always have to leverage external innovation sources, right, to be competitive in the future. And they asked us to, okay, I mean, they had no idea how to work with startups, and we built a company to kind of help them to work together with startups. And we worked for example, for Bosch in my previous company. We worked for LafargeHolcim in construction company. We worked for the Whole Foods of Europe in a way. And I've seen like 7,000 startups like trying to network with corporates, which was in a way very interesting. But on the other hand, after some time, I realized that there are more pressing problems on the planet than like corporates and their kind of digitization, like lack of digitization in a way. I read a good book by Rob Dunn, written by Rob Dunn, which is called Never Out of Season. It's really an amazing book. You know, Rob Dunn is writing about how the food system that we built is threatening our food supply. That we're just relying on 3 animals that we eat, that we're just relying on 5 crops that we eat all the time. And everything is quite threatened in that food system. Kind of, there are a lot of pathogens out there. There's climate change threatening our, a lot of supply. The next famine is just like across the doorstep in a way. And there's a chapter in that book written by Rob Dunn that is kind of dealing with the cacao plant, and that kind of the certain pathogens and the climate change is threatening our chocolate in a way. And chocolate is not a future-proof product in a way, right? And I read that chapter and I thought, like, this is crazy. You know, I won't have chocolate in some years. It's really, it's crazy. And why do we pour billions of dollars on stupid corporate problems instead of just like securing the chocolate, securing the wheat, securing the potatoes, securing all that stuff in a way? Makes much more sense. We need to pour much more, we need to pay more attention onto ag tech and food tech and in those domains. And that's when I contacted Sara, and like Sara rather came from the science side, and that's where we met. Maybe Sara, you can like describe how you came to that.
Essential Ingredients is powered by NextGen Chef. NextGen Chef is a movement that supports food and beverage entrepreneurs around the world by fostering a sense of community and providing its members access to mentors and a wealth of resources and guidance. NextGen Chef feeds members with the knowledge they need to build better for you food and beverage businesses, so the world can have greater access to healthier food, comprehensive food education, and increased affordability. If you like what you hear on this podcast, continue the conversation or ask new questions on the NextGen Chef app, available in the Apple Store and Google Play. Follow NextGen Chef on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook at NextGen Chef. Join NextGen Chef and let's change the future of the food industry together.
What is it that you're hoping to achieve, not just in the short term, but in the long term, with your initiative?
I think long term, we think it's necessary that we create a future-proof chocolate, right? I think we want to kind of de-risk the cocoa supply chain. For us, it's not about substituting cocoa or removing cocoa from this planet. It's rather about providing a second pillar to the cocoa supply chain and like taking a little bit of load from the supply chain. You must imagine that every person in Europe eats 7 to 8 kilograms per head and year of chocolate. This is enormous, right? China and Asia.
Chocolate.
Pardon?
That's a lot of chocolate.
That's a lot of chocolate. I think in America it's just 4 to 5 kilograms still. So the Europeans eat more chocolate now, but still it's a lot. You know, and China and Asia are just picking up. You're not like they're eating like under 1 kilogram now, but they're picking up they're heavy growth rates. And nowadays we have to produce 5 million tons of cocoa to kind of satisfy that craving for chocolate, right? Which is enormous. And there's no other solution than kind of sourcing cocoa from Ghana and Ivory Coast. 70% is coming from 2 countries. And now that we know that the supply is in a way threatened by pathogens and climate change, I mean, it's devastating. And we want to provide a second pillar to de-risk that supply chain and not substitute cocoa. And we think like long-term, for sure, we're going to be a B2B player, and kind of the mission that we formulated is that we're going to replace chocolate in mass market products by 2035, so that the precious cocoa can be used for the exclusive chocolate cravings. You know, we're talking about pralines, talking about like 70% chocolate bars, bean-to-bar chocolate bars in a very sustainable way. And we do the M&Ms, we do the Snickers, we do the Mars, we do the products that we enjoy, but that do not necessarily need to contain cocoa.
That's a lofty goal.
Yeah,
I think it's a great goal.
you need to have goals.
I
And
know.
they need to
I'm with
be.
you. So, and in the short term, what's the big goal? Sara?
Sara can elaborate on this. Yeah.
I think we came from, like, we have 2 goals. One is, of course, from the R&D perspective, having an amazing tasting cocoa, or you can call it chocolate, that has the same sensory properties. I think we are there almost already, I would say, or I'm at least confident that we are there. So we had, for example, a blind tasting earlier this year with sensory experts from the chocolate industry, and they could not differentiate between our cocoa and conventional chocolate. So that is or was one goal, but I think the other goal is to kind of like maybe launch our first own product, either D2C or B2B2C, like for example in coffee shop chains, to kind of like play the narrative or govern the narrative, because I think a lot of people are aware that meat is bad for the planet. A lot of people are aware that cheese is bad for the planet. But most people, they don't know about the devastating effects of our enormous production of global cocoa harvesting, or like how cocoa is produced, like the deforestation, all the land use change, the water usage, like it's 27,400 liters per kilogram of cocoa. I think in gallon it's like divided through 3, like 8,000 gallons per water per kilogram of chocolate. So that's enormous. And I think that's important for us, that consumers understand or get to learn, in a way, get educated about the problems. And that's what we want to achieve with our own first product by mid next year, like launching it either in the US or Europe. We're not quite certain about that yet. But yeah, we are working on our first kind of like product there.
And what can we expect to see for your first product?
That's still secret, because we're in early stages there on one hand. On the other hand, it's going to be like, expect something very emotional. We're looking for a very emotional product, or like we're developing a very emotional product that a lot of people enjoy to eat on a daily basis. And I think our first prototypes are quite promising, and I think we're going to introduce our product in Q1 next year with a big bang. For now, I mean, we already have a product.
Quarter? Did you say first quarter?
Yeah, like not introduced, but like introduce the form in a way. Then like it will be available like mid of next year for sure. But there's no need to wait for this. I mean, everyone who's listening to this, go to our website, coacompany.com. You can order our supermassive test kit, which contains 9 pralines with white coa, dark coa, and milk coa. So kind of milk chocolate substitute, dark chocolate substitute, white chocolate substitute, and just order it there. Get your hands on it.
I can't wait to try it myself. Can you tell us what the ingredients are in this?
I can tell a bit about it. I have to stay a little bit opaque because the formula is not yet finalized. But what we can say for sure is that like, let's say cereals play a part in that, gluten-free cereals for sure. I would say kernels and seeds from fruits play an important role. So all natural ingredients. And it's going to be a clean label product. So you do not find any additives there, no flavorings, nothing. It's just like pure ingredients that we ferment and roast. So maybe it's like 3-4 ingredients in the end, like sugar, alt dairy milk powder, and then our 2 core ingredients that we center our formulation all around.
So it's clean, it's dairy free. Is it gluten free?
It is gluten free, yes.
Free and allergen free?
Yeah, so we have like this kind of like list of things that we want to nail, which is like gluten, allergen free, all like lactose free. So it's a kind of a product that everyone can enjoy. Like no one has to be afraid that either they're harming their body or they're harming the environment. It's like a sin-free or guilt-free delight.
And the most cool thing about it is as we're using byproducts, no tree needs to be harmed and no additional farmland needs to be created for our product. We just use products that are anyway there in other food processes, and we take them and we make more value out of them by kind of leveraging our process. And that's a cool thing, you know. It doesn't harm the planet, it doesn't take more farmland, it doesn't take any trees to be cut down. I think that's a cool thing in addition to that.
So Max and Sara, I'm curious, when you came up with this idea, was your goal to build a better for you company, and was waste on your mind, and was, the planet on your mind? What was foremost on your mind? Was it the chocolate? Was it the planet? Was it the waste? Was it, creating something that would really hit all those things? Or did you come up with those things as you're building this business with the overarching mission of building a better for you business? I don't want to put words in your mouth. I'm trying to just understand where you were coming from, because you really you've nailed every single thing about building a better for you business. And it's so inspiring. So
I think I at least came from the chocolate flavor part. Like I really wanted to nail an amazing product that the texture should be right, the aroma should be right, the taste should be an amazing tasting chocolate. And like soon after we started to work on this project, we of course learned quite quickly that all the other things that you just named, like the environmental issues, are a big threat actually to our planet. And this played in our hands, I would say. But at least from my side coming, it was all about flavor and making a perfect chocolate.
I wanted to make an impact. I had, with my previous company, it was like financially successful. It was a business that works. It was a business that helped corporates to kind of get more profits, more margins in a way. But in the end, I was a little bit unsatisfied after some years. I said, like, okay, it cannot be the case that we're just like increasing profits of corporates. I want to do something for the planet. I want to like turn the big wheel in a way and really make an impact as long as I'm like standing on this planet. I'm also part of the Green, or like member of the Green Party in Germany. So I moved into politics, but realized that I'm not a person that succeeds in politics. I'm rather with my head through the wall in a way, and I'm better like building companies than being in politics. So I thought like I just can make a bigger difference if I make something in the food business. And luckily, Sarah is a fantastic scientist and had the science already in her pocket in a way, so we could leverage it. And I think with Sarah's kind of want to really replicate the chocolate flavor, and with my, I would say, motivation about like the thing behind it, I think we started that and learned more and more about really the impact that chocolate makes on the planet.
Well, it's inspiring, and I cannot wait to try what you guys have put together. I hope to be able to get the little package that you have, and I hope that our viewers will go onto your website. Can you repeat for them? We have some people listening and some people that will be looking at the podcast, so maybe you could spell it out for them. We'll also include it in the show notes, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But
so it's QOAcompany.com, and QOA is written with a QOA and then company, like normal company.com. I think if you can put it down in the comments somewhere, that would be great. And yeah.
And then for anyone that might be interested in talking to you guys further, for whatever the reason, maybe they're interested in partnering or investing or just learning more and maybe getting in touch, what's the best way to connect with you?
Drop us an email.
Yeah, drop us an email.
Great.
It's Max and Sarah at QOAcompany.com, again, like QOAcompany.com, and just our first names, and Sarah without an H.
Yeah, maybe put it also in the comments down there so that no one misspells. And happy if anyone is welcome to talk to us. We'd love to discuss with you guys. And we're looking for two things. Maybe that would be cool to end it up. We're looking for partners always that want to pioneer QOA. So we're looking for early adopter companies, for companies that want to be innovative in their business and that want to get their hands on QOA and try it out. Let it be in the bakery space, let it be in the confectionery space, anyone that wants to try it out and has a small company, reach out. Chefs, yeah. Restaurants.
Just out of curiosity, because sometimes we get chefs listening too.
Yeah.
And I think that could be an interesting space. I'm just throwing it out there.
Definitely. If any chef is listening. Chefs. Yeah. Next gen chefs. If anyone's listening, reach out to us. QOA can be kind of processed similar to chocolate. It's not too difficult, and it's definitely adding an edge to any.
Wonderful. Well, dish. I'm so appreciative to be able to have had you both here to learn more about QOA, which I so appreciate, Sarah, you sharing with me the K in that, just for phonetics, because now I can actually say it properly. Otherwise, I'd still be sitting here saying hemming and hawing without the confidence to say it. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me. I want to thank our listeners for joining me. To learn more about them, go to their website, and we will have show notes up soon. We're here every Tuesday. Thanks again for joining Essential Ingredients. To find out more about this episode of Essential Ingredients and access show notes, check out Next Gen Chef and choose podcast in the menu bar. If you like this episode, head to iTunes or Next Gen Chef's YouTube channel to subscribe. Learn more about Next Gen Chef, the platform that powers this podcast, by checking out our website, or visit us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Next Gen Chef. You can also check out my Instagram at Justine_Reichman. If you have thoughts about this episode or future episode ideas, leave us a comment at Next Gen Chef's YouTube channel or drop an email at team@nextgenchef.com. Thanks for joining us.